Hello. We're all right, everybody. Welcome to this very special first Captivate reveal event of 2022. We've got a lot going on. You know, it's a very busy time. It's fun. We've got a lot of awesome stuff coming, all right, over the next year or so. And today I'm very, very, very happy to be able to share something that we've been working on for a little while now and that we're going to be releasing very, very shortly. I'm going to give you all those details in just 1 second. But of course, before I do that, I'm going to say hello to some people and tell you the order of the day. We've got Phil Bowyer. Good to see you. We've got the wonderful Sam. Hello, Sam. We've got Danny Brown, who says for Friday. Didn't know where that was going when I first started reading that, Danny. Got to be honest with you. We've got Aidan, we've got Fear Film, we've got Daniel Anderson, we've got Michael Rodriguez, we've got Eric Goranson, we've got Pete from New Zealand. We've got the inimitable Bob Gentle, who came on a little bit early and was sort of entertaining himself. And us, and I'm here. And just being entertained by Bob. So thanks for keeping me entertained, Bob. And just, you know, the usual crew. It's great to see everyone online. We really, really appreciate it. We've got Chris Biddle. We've got Riley. We've got Annette, the ever-present Annette. Good to see you. All right. Woo! What a year last year was. Captivate came out of the blocks. Hey, Katie. And we've got Ben. Hey, Ben. Captivate came out of the blocks last year swinging, all right? We, if we flash back actually to 2020, we released a heck of a lot. You know, a lot of other podcasting hosts were sort of caught sleeping a little bit with the pace that Captivate moved. And that's, you know, Captivate is the anomaly here. Captivate is the company that moves quicker than you'd expect. We've got a fantastic engineering team. We've got a wonderful design team, wonderful support and experience team, and a wonderful marketing team. So we were very fortunate to be able to move quickly. But the kicker with all of this, and the reason that we can move so quickly. What's up, Cam? You'll like this one. What's up, Matt? What's up, Em? The reason that we move so quickly is because we are podcasters. Like we aren't podcasters because we build podcast software. We build podcast software because we are podcasters, all right? We podcast about all that stuff in my background, the Star Wars stuff, the music stuff. Gaz podcasts about Doctor Who. You know, there's podcasters everywhere. Danny has got podcaster stories. We were all doing this before we built Captivate, and that's why we build Captivate, all right? So everything that we do is from the perspective of podcasters, not like the whole marketing spiel of built by podcasters for podcasters. Most people usually podcast because they're in podcasting. Not us. We started podcast before we got into this game. All right. So that's why we were able to move so quickly with Captivate. Now, what I want to do is set the scene for the year. All right. I really want to just Michael Hurst back. Here he is. And Jeff, podcast father. Good to see you. So I want to set the scene a little bit first of all. You know, we've got a busy year ahead. You know, 2020 was really about proving that we could be a really good podcast hosting platform. And we set ourselves a goal of releasing a feature every single week. It was so interesting. Thank you very much, Simon. I appreciate that. And another one coming on Monday. You know, we're able to just get our foot down and get a lot done in 2020 because we wanted to just be ever present. We wanted to show you that we meant business. All right. We got the IAB certification. At that time, we were the only independent host, self-funded independent host, I think, to have done it. If we weren't the only one, we were certainly one of the only ones. We released so much, single promotional link and so on and so forth, like things that people just didn't think of, one-click sponsor kit that helps people every day. And then 2021 came. And we knew that we wanted to then start pushing boundaries. What could we do to make podcasting better? So we did things, obviously, we did our dashboard refresh, we did our player refresh, but we did things like Amy. We did our first-party attribution links. We did our guest booking system, which has had thousands of guests booked since we launched it a couple of months ago. This year, it's about proving that we just believe what we say. All right. We didn't take time off. We didn't, just kind of back off. We kept the foot down for the last 2 years. And that is what we're going to continue to do over this year and next year and, beyond that. So this year, is all about helping you with monetization. It's about helping you with marketing, and it's about helping you with workflow. All right. They're the three streams of dev. We're very, very fortunate to have a team that can run 2 or 3 different development streams at a time. We're not siloed into feature and then another feature and then another. We can split and we can do multiple dev streams at a time. And then you've got Gaz, me, and the support team that are sort of holistic to it, driving things and kind of just pushing things around and kind of pulling things around, testing, and the wonderful dev team doing their job. So we've got so much that we've got going on. All right. And we love doing it. All right. We absolutely love doing it. So what are we doing today? Well, Captivate's mission is to be growth focused. All right. Now, what does that mean? I remember when we launched, I won't mention the name, but there was someone that said, well, are you saying that we said we're the growth focused podcast host? And they said, well, are you saying that we don't care about the growth of our podcasters' audience? And I remember saying, well, prove it. They haven't. And a lot of the time, it's easy to just build a marketing tagline and to just sort of live off it, without actually proving something. So our goal is always to do one of a couple of things. All right. Number one, either give you a tool that will directly help you to grow your podcast, directly help you to grow it, the single promo link, so on and so forth, first party attribution links, blah, blah, blah. Or give you a tool to save you time. Because if you have more time, then you can invest that time in growing in other ways. And that's why I put out my content, the Podcast Accelerator, very, very big, deep dive educational content. I've got one coming up on Monday, which you can get over at Mr. Asquith in the bottom corner. Just click start reading on my Twitter profile. On Monday, a deep dive about a Twitter strategy that you can use. It's like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 words. It's a beast of content. And I did the same last week about engagement. Because if I can give you, with the Captivate team, tools to help you to save time, what I can also do is give you content that you can use with that time to make things better and to grow your podcast. All right. So it feels logical. All right. It really is. So, Aidan, I'm sorry you got 3 minutes with us. You got 3 minutes with us. So today is all about time saving. And what you're going to start to see is a bit of the bigger picture strategy that we have for Captivate. Okay, so let me just refresh your memory. We put out first click attribution links. We've put out guest booking. We've put out aiming module 1. What I'm doing today is revealing something that is the first part of our much deeper workflow cycle. And we've got at least another 2 major modules that we've already signed off the interfaces for, and at least one of them that are already almost ready to go. Okay, so what we've got here is a workflow time-saving tool that puts a bit of a rope, a bit of a net around some of the Amy work, around some of the guest booking work, and around some of the first-party attribution link work to bring them together into a time-saving tool. And that tool is an automated show notes builder, an automated dynamic show notes builder that will allow you to create templates for your show notes using custom shortcodes that pull in information from every single place within Captivate. Every single place within Captivate. All right. So you've got guests on your show. That's cool. Let them book via your guest booking and automatically insert all of their information into your show notes. You've got your attribution links set up for your sponsors. You insert a dynamic piece of audio using Amy. That's cool. We'll insert the content that you've associated with that audio, the wording for your sponsor. We'll insert the attribution link that is connected to that piece of audio content, and we will measure the click-throughs all by automatically inserting it into your show notes. We give you 3 tiers of management. You've got your shortcode. You can create blocks. You can create full show notes templates. You can connect guests to your podcast episodes. and then use those guests throughout your show notes. All right. It's a huge time saver. It is massive. It is huge. All right. Now, the cool thing with this is, like I said, it pulls in from everywhere. It pulls in from everywhere. Your episode title, your show title, your episode link, your author, your copyright information, everything can be pulled in and automatically used. And the beauty of it, the real kicker with this one is that it can all stay dynamic. It can all stay dynamic. Now, I'm going to show you around it in a second, but let me discuss what that dynamism means, all right? It means that if you swap out a sponsor and you reinsert some audio using Amy's bulk editor and you run it right through the past episodes that you've put out, all of your show notes will be updated with the new links, the new written content. It means you can now sell your show notes as sponsorable materials. If you decide that you got the guest name spelt wrong or the guest changes their link, that's cool. You just change it in their guest profile and your show notes will update everything. You change your copyright, cool, cascades through. It is fantastic, all right? It works so well, and Ed and the team on the dev side have done such a wonderful job, all right? So I'm going to give you a demo of this in a second. If you've got any questions, let me know, all right? Stick them in the comments. We're running a document over here where I can pick up the questions. Now, before I give you a demo, I want to give you some insight into what's coming, all right? We've got Amy Module 2 coming. That's there. That's ready to roll. In about 2.5 weeks, we've got another very big reveal. Another very, very big reveal, all right, which is actually not tied to this, all right? It's something else. It's something way over here that you're going to really, really, really enjoy. Something that is going to help you with your audience and making the most of the audience. And we've also got a little bit more around workflow that will then feed in to some of this show notes work that I'm going to show you, all right? So I'm going to give you a demo. If you've got any questions, just let me know, all right? Just let me know. So, if you see me looking down here, it's because I'm looking at the comments. All right, shall I give you a demo? Here's one I prepared earlier. This is a demo show. So I'm just going to bring it up and show you. We'll see what happens. All right, runtime fitness demystified. I need to demystify my fitness. It's a mystery to me. Why am I so bad at it? All right. So let me walk you through this. So I've got my episodes here, as you can see. That's all well and good. But what you're going to see is that down here on the left-hand side, I've got a new area under content management called show notes. Okay. So what I can do is inside show notes, I've got 3 subsets. Now I've got some set up already, but I'm going to show you how all this works. All right. We've got 3 layers here, okay? We've got templates, blocks, and custom shortcodes. Now, I'm going to come back here, first of all, and work with custom shortcodes. Now, Captivate will bring in information from everywhere within your dashboard, all right? It's going to bring all of your attribution links in as shortcodes, so you'll see some here. I've got some attribution links booked in there. It's going to bring your single promo link in. It's going to bring all of your monetization links in. It's going to bring everything in, okay? And they'll be shortcodes. However, I can also add what I call custom shortcodes, and I am going to talk to you about how this works. So I've got some already set up here, all right? I've got an old website URL. I've got a guest release notification, a link to Gaz's other podcast, the Big Blue Box podcast, and some disclaimer text. Now, if I show you these, so this is my old website URL. Easy. It is what it is. You can see what's going on there. And I've got some guest release notification text here as well. This is all guests are given the permission to be featured in this podcast episode, and although we'll do the best to maintain the quality of the sites, blah, blah. It's just a bit of, it's just a sort of a disclaimer. And then we've got some more disclaimer text here inside a shortcode that's a disclaimer about affiliate links, all right? So I can add some custom shortcodes, pretty much, do what I want with those. And then what I can do is I can create custom blocks. Now, blocks it says here, reusable sections of text that can be used within your templates or your show notes on the fly. They used to be called snippets. Now, think about a block. You might have a couple of different show notes templates, which is what we're going to do today. You might have a solo episode that you do that's got one type of show notes template. And then you might have a guest episode where you do interviews that's got a different type of template. So what you might want to do is link in like a footer that you use on every single type of show notes. So you wouldn't want to put it inside your show notes template. You'd want to keep it as a variable block so that when you change this block, it cascades to all of your other templates, all right? So you build these up. So I've got this footer here that I always put at the end of my show notes. It's just one that I'm using as a demo. Simon, there are no limitations to anything with this. So the closing footer here, this is what I always put at the end of my show notes. If I just edit that, look what's going on here. Things you should know. I've got my disclaimer text, which was a short code, remember? And it says here, Gary also has another podcast at short code Gary's other podcast, and you can find the archive at old website URL. And look, these are all available here. All of my short codes are available. And we're adding more and more of these. If you want one adding from somewhere, if you say, actually, I'd like to be able to link to this thing within Captivate, just let us know. We'll add them. Okay. I've got the opportunity to search them. So if I want to do, choose an episode level shortcode, or I can choose custom shortcodes only, which is what I did here. And all I do, I could just pop one in. And I can choose, do I want this to stay dynamic? Which means that if I update this shortcode later, it will cascade to all of the episodes that include this shortcode. Or I can render it out statically. I can just put it in as wording as it exists today. It's rare that you do that, but you could do if you wanted to. If I cancel out this block, because I don't want to save it, what I've then got is my show notes template. So I've actually got this one set as a default. All right. That's a default template. So if I go and edit that, look at what I've got here. I know you'd probably have more to your show notes. This is just a demo one. But I've got welcome to the show title brought to you by the show author, all short codes from here. We've got some more text. I'm using my sponsor affiliate link. I'm using my attribution link from here, which is my course promotion. And I'm using the block that I created, which is closing footer. You remember that footer? And then I've got a short code there, which is the show copyright. Now, if I just type that in, there it is. Now, what's cool about this is that I've set that as my default. If you didn't see that, sorry. I can set that as my default here. Now, as I go and publish this, what will happen is that, I upload my audio, blah, 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 as normal. I stick my episode title in. I've now got some new things happening. It's already pre-populated my show notes. But I can also switch templates if I had more than one, which I'll come to in a second. I can also, on the fly, insert blocks. I could insert other shortcodes. And I'd go ahead and publish as normal. Now, what's very interesting with this, I'm going to show you two things that make this even more powerful. Okay, so let me go ahead and just cancel this publishing. What I can do here, if you're using Amy already, you'll be familiar with this content library, which basically allows me to manage all of my content. You'll see I've got my MP3 files in here. You'll see that we've got my Amy content in here. You can have PDFs, you can have all sorts in here, for your lead magnets and so on. What I would suggest here is that look at these Amy options. I'm basically using, if we look at, let's have a look at this Captivate one. So if I look at this one here, and I'm just going to go edit it. It's labeled Captivate ad. It's labeled as an internal ad, but look at this new stuff. It's my default pre-roll. And what I need to do is I've gone ahead and I've added now a show notes title. I've added the show notes text that I want to appear when I use this advert. And what I've done here is I've chosen one of my attribution links. So I've got an attribution link here for Captivate, this one. And what I've done is in the content library, I've uploaded my Captivate ad, and I've told Captivate that this audio is linked to this text content that you should automatically insert at the end of the show notes every time I use the audio. And you should also insert the attribution link. So there's never a risk of you forgetting to put a measurable link in your show notes. So when your sponsors come back to you, you can say, well, look, we generated 10,000 clicks or whatever. So you never forget to do this. And it's all dynamic. If this ad isn't in your audio episode, it won't put this text in. Captivate won't put this text into your show notes. If you have it in for a certain amount of time for a sponsor, and then you take this advert out, the show notes will be updated to remove this text and to remove this link. So it becomes saleable. Your inventory, your back catalog, show notes become a saleable asset for you to monetize. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I've done the same here with Ali too. I've picked some friends. I've picked caller Ali too to use. Same thing, you know. And I've done the same here with Pod News. And James, if you're watching, I'm sure you are. I said that Pod News is for the discerning podcaster. I thought you'd like that. So that's Amy, that you can put your show notes content into Amy, and every time you insert some audio, it will just appear in your show notes at the end. What we do is we create a custom block at the end of your episode notes that says mentioned in this episode, and then all the text from each of them laid out really nicely. So we've got the episode publishing. If I show you this, look, you can see the show notes default template is cool. It's all worked really, really well. And, you know, if we want to, I need to upload my audio. Let's attach this to my episode. So Captivate goes ahead. It's going to go and generate this Amy waveform. You'll see that I've got my pre-roll and my post-roll. If I was to publish now, the episode notes would just work. It would just work. All right. It would just work. It would put in the text for the Captivate ad as well as the audio. I know here as well that I've got, if I zoom in, like I think I've got this space here at 1540. If my old man memory serves me correctly, 1540 there. See that gap? I've left that for a mid-roll. So there we go. I can just pop in Pod News and off you go. Nice and easy. Simple, simple, simple. And just to answer this while I've got it. So Matthew Passy, can those mentions be inserted elsewhere, not at the bottom? It's still bloody brilliant. Either way, just curious. Yeah, the way to do that, you can't choose where Amy will put the text because frankly, we went through the kind of process with this one. We thought they should always go at the bottom if they were dynamically inserted because there was less risk of anything messing up when you took them out. You don't want your formatting to break. However, what you could do very easily, you just create a new block for them as well if you want. And what we'll probably do in the future is create some extra shortcodes for them. But you could just create some blocks, you know, nice and easy. Okay. It's not to do with where you place a shortcode, Trevor. With those Amy ones, Amy content will always be added at the end unless you create separate blocks for it. And that was a difficult decision to work through the process on. Like I said, we decided to put Amy content at the end of the show notes because it's all dynamic. So it can be moved, it can be shifted. If you take out an audio ad, that text needs to come out without breaking the rest of the show notes. Obviously, we're always open to feedback on that, but that was the original kind of methodology behind it. So this is great. However, it gets better. It gets even better. So I'm not going to publish this episode. I'm going to cancel it. What I'm going to do is I've got some people that I've been interviewing on my podcast. Oh yeah, you'll see them here. Got some guests, Linda Park and Wally West. And you'll see that I've got some bookings that I've done today, Wally West and Linda Park. So what I'm going to do live on air, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new show notes template. All right. I'm going to create a new block, which is my guest thanks and disclaimer. Look, I'm not a typist. All right. Okay. This podcast couldn't without the wonderful guests that we interview. Thank you to everyone who participates. All right, and then what I'm going to do is put in my shortcode, which is a custom shortcode, which is my guest release notification. I'm going to keep it dynamic, and that will keep that there. Now you can fill these blocks up. You know, blocks are intended to be using multiple templates. They're sort of big chunks of text that you might want to reuse elsewhere. Okay, this is a very simple variation of it. So I'm just going to create that block. Block successfully created. Well, that's good. Now what I'm going to do is we've got this show notes template here. That's my main episode notes. But what if I've got a guest on? I might want a different format. Okay, so what we do is we go guest episode show notes, and it's not default. Okay, what I am going to do though is use my existing show notes template as a starting point, and then here we go, guest details. There, we're very fortunate to be joined by some wonderful guests. You should check them out online. And again, I know this is a really simple version of it, but look, it's just for testing. All right. So, guest name, guest URL, guest Twitter, and I'm not going to do all of them. Guest bio. All right. We'll just leave that in there and you can see. So I've got this set up, right? Nice and easy. Nice and easy. All right. Create show notes template. It's not my default. Look. Okay. Hey, stop beating up on the typing. So what I can do now is publish a new episode. And we'll say the one with Linda and Wally. Now, this is my basic show notes template. It's my default, but I don't want that. I want the one with the guest details in. So I can go ahead and just change that to guest template. And what I've then got the opportunity to do down here is link a guest, in particular, a specific interview. Because remember, you might interview people several times and their data may change from time to time, interview to interview, because they'll come on promoting one thing, then promoting another thing the next time. So we're going to add Linda, and we are going to add Wally's most recent booking. There we go. So we've got our guests attached. Now, we are also pushing out next week the fact that these guests will automatically push to Podchaser credits as well, and the Podcast 2.0 person tag. All right. So there is a little bit of sort of behind the scenes going out next week as well. Podchaser integration for the guests and the Podcast 2.0 stuff as well. The new tags for the people. So these guests will link to that as well. So thank you, SJ. Now what I can do is, because I've added those guests, I have a range of information available to me. Look at this. This wasn't there before. All the guest information. So we're only going to put Linda's information in again for the sake of just demoing this to you. We're going to put guest name, Linda Park, and we're going to keep it dynamic in case it changes. We're going to put the guest URL, Linda. We're going to put the guest Twitter, Linda. And then the guest bio. And guest bio there, which is Linda. Now, this will just all render out for you. It will just look nice in your podcast app. Now, it's really difficult to demo what this looks like because obviously you need a feed. It's difficult to do that on a live session, but it will just render all the data out wonderfully. But if any of that data changes, if in your guests section anything changes, everything will be updated, all right? Anytime that this data appears, it will be updated. Now, if you think this through, What else can we do with shortcodes? Well, we can help you with promo. We can help you with all sorts of other stuff that aren't show notes. All right. So just bear that in mind for the future. It's very, very interesting. Now, there was a question that came in, which was, can we preview this before it goes live? Not yet, although I have been sort of internally toying with the idea of creating a preview option. But I think as part of some of the workflow stuff that we're doing, that will come with that, because there is a lot, I think there's more that we can do with that one to help other people, other types of users with that as well. So rather than just being a preview, I think there is other workflow states that we can actually help to enhance with that as well. So that will come down the wire. It's something that we've been toying with internally for that one. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, all right? It is fantastic. It really is good, okay? Now, I've already created show notes templates for myself. The reason that we've put show notes templates out now is because we are working on some other bits to help with your time saving as well that will then feed into these shortcodes, all right? The goal is for you to not have to do any work in authoring your show notes. That is the goal, is to help you to not have to do a thing, all right? That is where we are aiming. So that's the demo. That's the walkthrough. Now that will be live next week for you. All right. If you're a Captivate user, you will get an email. You will get all of the information, the video overviews, the tutorials. You're going to get everything that you need to work with that. All right. You are going to get everything you need to work with that. It's free. There'll be no charge for it. There will be no limits on it. It's free for everyone on any plan, on any show. And yeah, it's brilliant. I really, really love it. All right. So I'm going to get some questions in a sec. So if you want to fire them over, please do so with the word question in front. But I'm loving this. I am loving it. What have we got? The next 4 or 5 releases that we've already got. We're fortunate because we're a team that we're big enough to be able to like get UI done. We can get dev done, early. So we've got 4 or 5 releases ready to roll, pretty much. Honestly, when you see the way that we've kind of put this thing out, which is then complemented by this thing, and then built this picture of a podcasting kind of power toolkit for you, you just honestly, you're gonna love it. And as a working podcaster, myself and Gaz and Danny and the rest of the team, we couldn't do it without being working podcasters. We simply couldn't do these things. All right. So I'm going to get some questions in a second. So in fact, we'll do them now. Growth mode. Are you guys planning on figuring out how we can incorporate NFTs into our podcast? It's on our mind, but it's not priority for the next 3 months. If I'm completely honest with you, it's still the Wild West with NFTs, and it's still reasonably early adopter phase. So it's not something that is today, but we are keeping eyes on it. We are looking very conscientiously at Web 3.0 overall, and just looking at what's going on in that space. Like I said, it's difficult. The challenge, I think, when you're implementing anything, it was the same with podcasting 2.0. You get berated by the industry if you don't instantly jump onto something new. However, the apps don't do it. The users generally don't know about fresh, cutting-edge stuff, which is fine. We're all hobby podcasters at the end of the day, and we're indies and we're busy, so it's all right to not be on the bleeding edge. So for us, it's a fine balance between when do we incorporate something new without adding a lot of confusion about where that thing is supported on, what it means, and so that is quite difficult, but it is on our radar. Of course, everything is on our radar. We're in tech after all. So that is on our radar. Trevor, how do these shortcode links and website links work if you're not using the Captivate site and you're instead hosting on your own? It doesn't matter as long as it's pulling from the feed. Doesn't matter. Captivate Sync will work with it. It's cool. Yeah, it's pulled from the feed. These update your RSS feed. Captivate site is pulled from our API, which in turn is obviously feeding the RSS feeds as well. So yeah, you're fine. You're fine with that, Trevor. Question from a random Tango Mangle. Brilliant. So does this integrate into a WordPress template that's already designed? You can just use your RSS feed, whatever takes your RSS feed. If you use Captivate Sync, whatever, they'll pull through to your player. What we're doing here is we're on Captivate's side, we're giving you dynamic show notes, and when you publish it, we're generating the RSS feed as normal. We're doing the work for you. So wherever your RSS feed is, the actual proper outputted data will appear. So it's however you're managing that, it will just stay the same, you know. Cam, we building podcast websites. How do we get this to work? Well, it'll work through Captivate Sync, but Cam, if I'm honest, if you're still building in podcast websites, the old interface, it's great for what it does, and it's great on the WordPress side and the serviced side of WordPress. But you will get a better experience from the more wide-ranging feature set by publishing in Captivate. And, you know, obviously I know you well, you're a friend. I know what you do for your shows. There is no reason not to publish directly to Captivate. So I would be moving to that, my man, and doing just some mop-up on images in the back end of podcast websites later. I would be moving to doing all your work in Captivate, if I'm honest with you. You know, with regard to your episode, I know you do everything else on WordPress, and obviously we support that, but that's what I'd be doing. Yeah, you've got to take advantage of these new things. Michael Hurst, can this be used with previous episodes? Yeah, so all you'd do is you'd have to do a little bit of thinking on that one, because obviously it will need the template and the shortcodes. But what you can do is you don't have to use a template all the time. That's why we broke templates out from blocks and shortcodes, is that you can use any level of the show notes manager, show notes, shortcodes, blocks, or templates. So what you could do is go back through your old episodes and insert blocks, your footer, which becomes dynamic, or you can insert shortcodes, which then become dynamic. The thing that Captivate will automatically do for you is, if you, without having to really do any work, is if you publish an AMI pre-roll or a mid-roll or a post-roll en masse in bulk using the bulk editor to your old episodes, then Captivate will append that information to the show notes, historically. So you won't need to do any work on that one. So that would be sort of the AMI part of the dynamic show notes. What else we got? Phil, we talked about the preview. We're looking at that. Like I said, I think it's more, there's something more that we can do around workflow with that. But yes, sort of, the preview side of it is a great shout and something that we're conscious of. So I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see that soon. BLJ028, will this pull in any info from episode transcripts? Short answer, yes, through a short code. We've got a list of short code that we wish to add, and we're just going to be constantly adding them. It's one thing that we've made very easy, is like adding new short codes. So theoretically, yes. The challenge with transcripts is that you almost want them displayed in such a way that they're more accessible and they're not just bolted onto the show notes. So we could do that. That's sort of the easy thing to do. It's just, is that best practice? Is that the best way to do it? I'm not sure yet. Because we can represent them better in the player, transcripts better in the player. We can represent them better. I think obviously represented better in the RSS feed using the transcript tag. So arguably, I wouldn't want them in the show notes. I would want you to put them in the if I show you this, I would want you to put them here in this add a transcript to this episode section. And you can either link that from Descript, you can upload an SRT file, you can just type them. The reason that I'd want you to do that is that they will go into the proper tag in your RSS feed, and they'll be handled properly by the apps then and the players. So whilst we can do that, and we probably will give you a shortcode for it, I don't think that's the best use case. I would be tempted. Well, in fact, you should be using just that transcript section. Claire, this is brilliant. Thank you. Being greedy, is there any plan for the guest booking system to sync with my Google Calendar? We'd love to use the system. There is. The problem with that is that, frankly, it's a lot of maintenance because they change so often, and you've got to go through coding reviews every time you submit a change to Google. More likely, what we'll do is we'll offer something like an at-cost upgrade. So with integrating with one of the external third-party sort of connectors between Captivate and Google Calendar, we actually were going to release this with the show notes manager, because obviously you get so much benefit from the guest integration now. What we'll probably do is we know a couple of people that make tools that connect applications like Captivate to Google Calendar and so on. Because it's a job in itself. It is to create one of those products. They don't cost much, but what we might do is say you can use the guest booking platform for free. If you want to connect your Google Calendar, it might cost you $1 or $2 a month, which for the gain that you get back versus a free Calendly, $1 or $2 a month is perfect. We don't make money on that. That just covers what it costs us to allow that integration through a third party. So we might do that. We'd actually do have it spec'd to do that one. But it really is a full-on project to build one of those things. That's just, it would be silly of us to do it. So we'll probably use a third party, and it might cost $1 or $2 a month. But like I said, that's not us making any money on it. It's just, it will cost us that. We'll pass the cost straight on to you. But it's a negligible, but in the UK, it's pence. $1 a month is pence. But to benefit from the show notes integration and everything else that we do later, it's worth it in my view. When populating the data, so this from I think Life Links podcast. Apologies if I've not pronounced that right. When populating the data, e.g. the guest URL, is it linked to people so they can click through? Yeah, of course. Wherever there's a link or wherever there's like a social media handle, like an @ username, then yeah, we link it to the right place. Absolutely. Margot, for my clarity, the social media links are pulled from Google, so we don't have to manually insert. What about the bios? No, they're not pulled from there. They're pulled from when people use your guest booking platform on Captivate. So with Captivate, you've got this entire free booking system fully built in, where you can set your availability, you can set your booking settings up, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can set all sorts up, and it will give you. Let me just see if I can find it. I think we've got a live one on Spark of Rebellion. It will give you then a booking page, which I don't think we will have any availability for, but I will show you it anyway. I think we've still got it live. Yeah, there we go. So it gives you this free booking page. So you just say to your guest, look, if you want to book a time in my calendar for your interview, I've got a booking page. It comes free with Captivate. They fill all this data in. We store that, and we can then spit it back out for you. So that's how that one works. It's really, really good, honestly. Excuse me. Bob Thibodeau, would a Zap hook work with the Captivate scheduler? It depends what you want to do with it, really. On booking confirmed, yeah, we can give you the ability to zap something, to respond in Zapier. Yeah, we can do something like that one if it's a workflow tool that a lot of people would use. Yeah, of course. What else we got? Matt Passy, can those mentions be inserted elsewhere, not at the bottom? It's still bloody great, just curious. Yeah, like I said, Amy will always insert at the bottom because it's dynamic content. We didn't want to be like moving stuff around because you might have formatted it great. You pull out a block and it's like, actually, it's not great. So Amy will always insert at the bottom. But you could, if you wanted to. I don't think you'd want to, but in my view, you could create a separate block and put that where you wanted, using, again, the attribution link. Because remember, all your attribution links are available as shortcodes. So you can insert an attribution link shortcode into the block and then use that block wherever you want. You could do that if you wanted. Or you can just use Amy and stick it at the bottom. This is the beauty of it, is that it really is for the working podcaster. You build your own workflow using the tools. All we do is save you time. That's it, Can the guest calendar, this is from Tubular 2 times. Can the guest calendar booking integrate with 10 to 8 online calendar? No, it can't, because I've never actually heard of that one. Sorry. But yeah, no, it can't. But again, it might be when we integrate the external calendar system. It might be something that is on their list already, so I'll take a look at that one. And any plans for the one-stop push advertising, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? Yes, and we built it in 2020 and didn't release it. I don't like that. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good practice. I think it's terrible practice, if I'm honest with you. I've got a big post coming out about what we can do better and why it's not a good thing. That's coming out on Monday. If you go to my Twitter profile at Mr. Asquith and just click start reading, you'll get that. It's coming out on Monday at 9 a.m. UK. We've toyed with this for years. We do have plans for, revamping that potentially, but I just think it can be done better. Because I think that one-click push advertising, I honestly don't see any data that it works. All it does is it pats us on the back saying, well done, we've saved 5 minutes. We've done Twitter. I just don't think it's very good. I don't use it. And this is why people ask about, how do I get engagement? How do I get more followers on Twitter? How do I get more listeners from social media? It's not by pressing one button. I'm sorry, but it's not. So we might do something with it. We deferred it, like I said, a couple of years ago, and we built like an entire system for it, and we shelved it because just you got to go through a lot of code reviews with Facebook. You got to wait for them. You got to wait for Google and LinkedIn, and it's just the return on it is difficult. I think if you are serious about growing your show, I think you can spend 5 minutes doing something on a channel basis. Spend 5 minutes setting up Twitter for the week. You'll get better results. You will, but we might revisit it. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the practice, and I don't see any data that it works. I might be wrong. If there's any links, let me know, because I would love to be proven wrong on that, but I just don't know. I just don't know. We might revamp it. We'll see. Who knows? What else we got? What else we got? Okay, any more questions? Send them through to me with the word question. I'm going to give it a few minutes and we'll wrap up. But look, like I said, this is, I always say this, like I feel like we've only just got started. There's so much stuff that we're doing to help. Honestly, I wish I could tell you it all. Like I was wanting to tell you about this before Christmas, and I was wanting to tell you about guest booking in summer, and just please just know that the 2022 it's not just like building features and just, big placating motivational. So we're doubling down on Captivate. It's actual useful stuff. It's just useful stuff. That is what Captivate does. It's what we major on. It's where we focus. All right. We want to help you to grow. So we've got some good stuff. Kieran's looking forward to one of them in particular. I know he's very, very excited about one of them. Yeah. I wish I could give you some tips on it, but I can't. I'll tell you one day. Can you automatically notify guests when their episode is released? Like I said, I wish I could tell you more. Well, I don't know about that one, Adrian. Let's not go nuts. All right, let's not go nuts. I know I'm dying. I'm dying to tell you. I'm dying. All right. Look, I'm going to hang around for another couple of minutes. Show notes manager, as we are calling it. It's dynamic show note creation. It is. I don't think anyone's ever done this in I honestly don't think anyone's ever done this in podcasting. And it's only a version 1 of it. We're always pushing and upgrading things. We've got the new listen page coming out shortly. I just want to keep doing this. All right. So keep an eye out for it. It's going out next week. Jersey Wearer says, when will there be Captivate hoodies? We used to have some Rebel Based Media ones. They got all bobbly. When we used to do all the events, when we get back to the events, obviously we'll start doing more merch like the hoodies and the t-shirts. So yes, well up for that. Yes. Michael, I'll bring you some tea. But like I said, we just got started. I know we keep saying it, but look, Captivate is only 2 years old. We launched publicly January 2020. Can you believe that? We're now a top 10 podcast host by episode share. We have basically spent 2 years with the foot down, and that is not changing. That is not changing, all right? It's fascinating. We bloody love doing this, all right? Oh, well, thank you to everyone. It's been a real pleasure. This is releasing next week. It's a free upgrade to all Captivate users, regardless of your plan, and there are no limits on anything in the show notes manager. There we go. Whew. I'm going to love you and leave you. This has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Michael, to Adrian, to Annette, to Phil, to Trevor, to Lifelinks, to Claire, to Anthony, to Cam. As always, love to Annie. Hope everyone is well, my man. To Michael, to M Verbal Diorama, to what else we got? To BLJ28, the man Danny Brown, to Sam, Ben, and the rest of the Captivate team. They're the talent on this one. I am just the mouth. All right, I am just the face. I am just the mouth. The guys and girls behind the scene are all the talent. All right. Thanks to Tubular 2 times, to Margot, to Delivery Doctor, to Daniel Anderson, to Let's Start a Cult podcast, to everyone. To Katie, to every single person that's joined me today. Look out for the release next week. Have a good weekend. Please look after yourself. Please be kind to everyone else. Please stay safe and just keep on captivating.